Welcome to the Busy Christian Mom Podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Collier. Fa la 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 lujah. I love a good Christmas pun. You know me. It is episode 18 today. We are in our 20 Advent ideas for the Busy Christian Mom. Today we are discussing ideas 11 through 15. Christmas is the most wonderful time of year, and it's special because of the birth of Jesus Christ. Hello! Christians call this time of anticipation Advent, and it's a time to focus on the birth of Jesus as well as look forward to the second coming of Christ. If you're playing along at home, we've covered 10 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom. It's the most wonderful and possibly the busiest time of year. In fact, I have learned a very important lesson this past week. A couple of weeks ago, child number 2, she brings home a note about bringing 22 stocking stuffers for class. All right, cool. A week ago, child number 3 brings home a note saying the same thing. Great. And then, towards the end of this past week, my firstborn says that she also needs 22 stocking stuffers. All this to say, I have yet to buy these 66 Christmas items, but I have high hopes to get those soon in a way that does not break the budget. Here's the lesson I learned. Now I know for next year to Amazon a 100 count of Christmas stocking stuffers. Hooray! I'm here to spread Christmas cheer and life hacks. And to remind you to hit up the Dollar Tree in November and not the week that school gets out. Good luck to you. Back to the reason we're here today, we're discussing ideas 11 through 15 of our 20 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom. In episode 16, we talked about the hope of Jesus. Episode 17 covers the peace of Jesus. And here we are in our third week of our Advent mini-series. Episode 18 is one of my favorite topics, the joy of Jesus. If you've seen my Instagram page, Busy Christian Mom, then you've seen a bright corner of the social media world. The joy of Jesus can radiate through you if you let it, and I love that we're taking the time to focus on this during the Advent season. So get your Christmas karaoke ready, and let's sing Joy to the World together. Idea 11 of our 20 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom is to read Matthew 1. The first 2 weeks of our Advent ideas focused on the birth of Jesus through Luke's eyes. Luke is more of a documentary-style gospel, and being a physician, that makes total sense. Matthew is a former rich tax collector turned redeemed, and presents an accurate history of Christ through the lens of Jesus as King. As you read through Matthew 1, read through the lens of the joy of Jesus. In typical BCM fashion, I'm going to give you a Brooke breakdown, and per usual, I'm going to ask you to take 5 minutes and read it with your own holly jolly eyeballs at some point this week. Brooke breakdown, here we go. Matthew lists the ancestors of Jesus the Messiah. Already a shout out to the King of Jesus. Don't skip through the names. Remember, all of the Bible is there on purpose for a purpose. When you read it, you'll recognize some names. Abraham gets a shout out. You know, Father Abraham had many sons, namely Isaac, who also gets a shout out, and his son Jacob too. Jacob was the one who wrestled with God and gave his son Joseph a really cool coat. Rahab gets a shout out. We talked about her and how she saved her family in episode 7. Ruth and her husband Boaz get shout outs, and we talk about them in episode 12. David gets a shout out. You know, he's arguably the greatest harpist in the history of the planet. He slayed a giant, became king, and a man after God's own heart. Solomon gets a shout out, and he is also arguably the wisest man in all the land. The list goes on, and then we get to Joseph and Mary. Why all the callbacks to these people? Well, one of the many reasons is that we just got to spend a couple minutes reflecting on how God worked through all these people. He knew every moving part and made it all work together perfectly. How cool is it that they got individual shout-outs in the Bible? And guess what? You get a shout-out too. God sees you and acknowledges you and knows all about you. Check out the Identity Crisis mini-series to dive deep into that. That's episodes 2 through 15. But wait, there's more to Matthew 1. The last few verses cover the birth of Jesus, but they have different details than what we read in Luke 2. There's dreams and angels and fiancés and more. Friendly reminder that it only takes a few minutes to read, so swipe off of Candy Crush for a hot minute and open your YouVersion Bible app. If you're reading aloud, have fun with the pronunciation of the names. Just roll with it. Or you can always just have your device read aloud to you. Now that you've read Matthew 1, idea number 12 of our 20 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom is to discuss Matthew 1. It doesn't have to be fancy. Keep it casual and simple. I'll give you a few discussion questions and you can piggyback or tweak as desired. There are a lot of right ways to do this. You can read the questions to your people before you read the chapter together. You can write your answers in your journal and reflect that way. That also may be a good option if you want to kind of prepare ahead of time before you're discussing with your kids. Point being, do what works for you in this season of life. You're busy. I get it. And if you have a reluctant husband who's not really into this, pray about it and ask God to open his heart and be receptive. Read to your kids in the main hub of your home and discuss it together. You never know what he's going to pick up on or chime in on. Pray and ask for wisdom and guidance. Here are the discussion questions. Number 1, what were the silliest or hardest names to pronounce? Who in the lineage stuck out to you? What can you remember about those people? Again, I love this set of questions because it's goofy, it's lighthearted to get started, but then it's helping those kids recall those names and what they did, so it's getting their mind jogging. Number 2, what are specific reasons the people in Jesus' ancestry can have joy in Jesus? Question 3, where in Joseph's part of the story can you see joy and the joy of Jesus? Question 4, what are the similarities and differences between the birth of Jesus in Luke versus Matthew? As Christians, we can walk through life differently because we have the joy of Jesus. Joy is one of the byproducts of having the fruit of the Spirit inside of us. We can live life joyfully because we know how the story ends, we know what the future holds, and we know where we stand with God. Idea 13 of our 20 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom is to say this prayer of joy. Let's take a moment and pray about joy. You can pray aloud with me, you can listen through as I pray over you, you can pause as needed, or you can take a few moments after this and pray over your family. God, thank you for letting joy even be a part of our lives. Once again, you show us just a great kindness and allow us to experience joy all around us. We can see joy in the smiling faces of carolers, with kids anticipating surprises, and with laughs around the table this season. We have joy because you are joy. You have given us the best present ever of the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. As we remember all of the good you've done for us, let us radiate joy as we live out this week. Help us intentionally bring joy to others through our actions and words. Help us represent you well this week as we focus on the joy of Jesus. All right, so we've read Matthew 1, discussed Matthew 1, and all those jazzy names. We've prayed about radiating the joy of Jesus, and now on to idea 14 of our 20 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom. It's to watch, read, or listen to a Christmas carol. Yes, the book nerd within me really wants to say read the Charles Dickens version, but I know our reality. You've got 17 class parties this week, and somehow you're also trying to find 66 Christmas items for your children at school. Here are some ways to do idea 14. Choose the way that works best for you and the season and the people you've got with you. You can actually read the book by Charles Dickens. You can listen to Scrooged on Apple Podcasts. It's 4 episodes, and Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings plays Scrooge. The nerd inside me is rejoicing for this collaboration. Or you can watch it. There are so many versions, from Jim Carrey to Mickey Mouse, and you can stream them on Netflix, Disney, so many options. All of them are great. Choose the one that works for your kids in this season. Like if you've got teens, maybe they're not into the Mickey Mouse Scrooge, even though I would love me some Mickey Mouse Scrooge. So really, you can try them all, see what works best. The more ways, the merrier. I love all these renditions of A Christmas Carol, so I'm likely to go through all of these for funsies. Here's what I love about this story. You can see a man go from death to life. Scrooge was toiling away at life and work and was full of himself and had quite a few flaws. Finally, through some spooky encounters, he realizes his folly. Scrooge turns from his ways and lives a life of joy. Death to life. Here's the bigger deal. We are Scrooge in this story. Before we chose to follow Christ, we were lost, empty, no true joy. Then we realize what we're missing. It's Jesus. We see that we are broken without him. We need saving, and we turn from our old ways to follow him. We walk in light because we have the joy of Jesus. Idea 15 of our 20 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom is to spread joy. The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. Well, Buddy the Elf isn't wrong, but there are a ton of right ways to spread joy this holiday season. Singing carols definitely counts as one of them. I have a few groups of friends who have holiday baking days, and they invite everybody over and they make a ton of baked goods, then they divide them all up and give them out as gifts. Easy, simple, smart, cheap on the budget. I love it. Growing up, my parents started a tradition with me and my brother. It was the 12 Days of Christmas countdown, and there was a fun countdown gift all the way until Christmas. It was so much fun to wake up each morning to see 12 of something, and then 11 something, and so on. As we got older, our parents each let us choose a family to surprise each evening. We'd gather up the gifts, sprint to the doors, put the gifts on the porch, and then run off. It was like Ding Dong Ditch, essentially, but with gifts and not ringing doorbells because we wanted to keep the surprise alive. And on Christmas Eve, we'd reveal who we were, and it was all so much fun. This year, we started this with our own kids, and we've selected families to do this for. Our kids are loving it. Y'all, it does not have to break the bank. 12 sticks of gum, 11 lollipops. It can be simple, quick, cheap. It's just fun. I realize we're on 8 sleeps till Christmas, so you're just going to have to not do 12 days. You're going to have to keep this idea in your back pocket for next year or tweak it and just do like a 5-day countdown. Whatever works for you. The point is, spread joy. Discuss fun ideas with your family, have a fun brainstorming session, and then get out there and be the light that points back to Jesus. Look at you go. You got 5 more ideas to try out this week. Let's recap. Idea 11, read Matthew 1. That should take about 5 minutes. Idea 12, discuss Matthew 1 and have fun pronouncing those names. Idea 13, the prayer of joy. Idea 14, watch, read, or listen to a Christmas carol. And idea 15, spread joy to others. As followers of Christ, we have the opportunity to live with a noticeable difference in our demeanor. We can show the joy of Jesus by being positive, encouraging others, and pointing back to him through our actions. He's the one who has enabled us to experience joy in the first place. As you go through this week, make it a priority to focus on the joy of Jesus by doing these next few ideas from our 20 Advent ideas for the busy Christian mom. And if you haven't yet already, head to brookecollier.com, scroll all the way to the bottom into your email, and I will send you an email next Monday, and it's going to have the Christmas catalog for you for free. Yay! Or if you want to support the small business, you can go get it on Etsy. Good for you. That helps keep the bad guys off the website from saying and doing bad things and shutting it down. So if you want to go through Etsy, cool. If you want it for free, hop on that email list. I regularly send out updates and freebies and all the fun things, so make sure you don't miss it. That is one way I can spread joy to you for free. Yay! So remember, head to brookecollier.com. And I will see you next week for our part 4. You get the last 5 ideas. Look at you go. All right, we'll see you next week.